All right, today is National Tree Day, a day to celebrate trees, take action on climate change, and share and spread good things that come with nature. And events are being held today across the GTA to coincide with this day. Joining us now is Michael Petryk, Urban Partnerships Lead at Tree Canada, who's also a certified arborist. And I was saying during the break how much I appreciate being out in nature, being around trees. It just seems to reset something in the brain. I think naturally we're drawn to it, and you realize how the urban environment can sometimes feel a little crushing.
Yeah, it can, and that's why we have National Tree Day. It's been 14 years we've been running this program. We bring over 2,000 volunteers out to this, and it's really important to sort of say, while it's in the middle of National Forest Week, National Tree Day is our time to celebrate the trees that are in our urban areas or within our communities, because it's easy to sort of forget and think we have to go outside of our cities, but not everybody has that opportunity to get outside the city. So we want to make sure that our parks, our green spaces, our schools all have trees. And so National Tree Day here is our chance to bring people together, plant some trees with them, talk about trees, talk about how it's super important to maintain those trees as well, because otherwise we could lose them. It's a tough environment for those trees.
What do people just need to think or consider before they plant a tree, Michael? Because some people might say, oh, I'd love to see a tree in my yard, but or in some public green space, but what factors do you need to keep in mind before you just get your shovel in and go?
Yeah, great question. It's really important to think about your space. Obviously here in your studio, we're not going to plant huge trees like the white pine I've got or the red maple, but they want to look at their space and say, well, what space do I have to work with? And then if they can, look at the soils, because different trees grow in different types of soils. So if you can have a look at those soils and learn a little bit around what kind of trees thrive in the soils, or talk to a certified arborist, you can learn a lot and make sure that you plant a tree that is going to live for a very long time. Then they want to pick their space. They want to make sure that they plant a tree that is far enough away from their houses, things like that. And then think about how big of a hole they want to dig. Now, the trees that I brought for you here are nice small trees. We really encourage planting small trees. Bigger trees have had to do a lot of root pruning, so they don't thrive as quickly. So trees like this are a great size to start with. And what you want to do is make sure that your hole is bigger than the pot you dig, because if you try to cram a tree into that tiny little hole, it's not going to thrive. And you want to make sure that the tree is definitely not planted too deep. So what everybody wants to do is make sure that you look for those top roots. We've got a little one right there. That's a perfect example. Make sure you're not covering all that up. Roots want to be underground.
That's a great tip.
The tree should not be, the trunk should not be buried. And so what you want to do is make sure your hole is even shallow is even a little better. I used to work with a gentleman who said, plant it high, never die. Whereas you bury it in 15 years, it could actually die and you've lost all that time, all that investment.
I had no idea.
I had no idea about that at all.
We see it all the time. What people do is they'll plant it either too deep or they'll mulch. They'll think, great, mulch is a super important thing we want to add. It adds all kinds of nutrients. It adds all kinds of bacteria, things like that into the soil, fungus in soil. But then they'll mulch and they'll cover it all up, and that also kills. You see these mulch volcanoes?
I have one in front of my house now.
I'm like, clear it out.
Pull it out a little bit.
Bad thing.
I know you did the right thing.
The tree is a little more older, mature though. Does that make a difference?
It'll give it a bit more time, but you will want to pull that mulch away. So if people are looking at their trees, they see a mulch. You want to look for the shoulders, and the old trees you were saying in Algonquin Park.
Beautiful.
The trees in Algonquin Park, you'll see kind of these shoulders reaching into the ground. You can see the tops of the roots. You want to see that, and that'll help your trees out.
That's great. I'm learning a ton here, and I love this. There are events going, kind of two-parter today at Mill Dam in Markham. Do you give a little bit to the people coming out, and how can people kind of still get involved? And do you give this kind of, as people plant, to tell them, give these tips on how to
exactly? Yeah, that's what we love about this, because we're bringing 600 people out to Mill Dam with us, and so we've got about 15 different experts who are going to take groups of these people out, show them how to plant the tree, so they can participate with the community, but then they also take some tips and things home with them, so they can think a bit more about that mulch. They can think a bit more about the trees in their neighborhood. It's one of the best things that I think we can do is sort of spread that knowledge out.
Michael, we're super tight on time, but what are these mats you brought? If you could quickly
this is the mulch. So I didn't want to bring a whole bunch of mulch and dump it in, but this is a cocoa mat that you can use to put around the tree.
And that's enough.
And that can be enough. Mulching is definitely great, but that helps to keep away weeds, helps to keep moisture. The droughts we've had. A tree like this, you need to keep watered, and a mulch mat like this, a cocoa mat, keeps the soil moist so your tree doesn't die out in that first couple of years that you plant it.
That's so awesome. TreeCanada.ca, and will that also, I know you said there's a website about fire safety as well.
I know everybody's concerned with the fires that we've got, and you can think, well, I don't want to plant a tree too close to my home because am I going to be encouraging fire to come close? But we work with Fire Smart Canada, we think about it, and there's guidance on what kinds of trees and how close you want to plant them to your house, because you may not want to plant a pine tree too close to your house, but a maple like this is close to your house is less prone to fire. So don't just be afraid of fire.
So many great tips.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael. Really appreciate this.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Okay.
All right, treecanada.ca is where you go for more information.